Hello and welcome to another match reaction on Football Talk podcast. My name is Ozzy and I'm your host for today's show. Where do we begin, guys? Well, to point out obvious, Liverpool have lost 1-0 to Crystal Palace at Anfield yesterday. Back-to-back home defeats, which is very unusual for the Reds. And it's the same old story for Liverpool. Started the game poorly, conceded early and struggled to score in front of goal. We've lacked a killing instinct in front of goal, especially in the last few games. And I can't lie, it's a slight concern. The only positive that I can take from these games is that we're creating a number of chances. But if we're not able to convert, we're going to fall behind the pecking order at the top of that table. And some Liverpool fans have already thrown the towel. I almost did last week against Man United. Now, speaking metaphorically, I've got a place in my shoulder at the moment. So I'm not quite ready to throw in the white towel in the ring yet. But that's me being hopeful more than anything else. So let's discuss the key moments of the game. We'll also do the player ratings. And if anyone would like to come on the show to have their say, the link is pinned in the live chat. And I'll try and get you on later on in the show. So let's start with the lineup and then we can kind of go from there on. So bear with me. Let me upload it onto the screen. Here we go. So let's discuss the lineup because I think there was some surprises in terms of the selection. Well, for me, there certainly was. Let's start with the Liverpool team. A good surprise was the fact that Alisson actually started the game. There was a lot of rumors going around social media. No one was certain that he will start, but he did. And to be fair, produced a solid performance. So good to see him back in between the sticks. And in terms of our back four, as I expected, I expected both of these to start. I think some may have went for Trent, but I think it was too soon to play him in this game. And the midfield, I was slightly surprised that Jones started this game. I personally would have gone for Harvey Elliott, as I think he's been more impactful in the last few games and seems to be in better form. And then the front three, I would have gone for Gakpo because I think he's been in better form. And Núñez has been quite awful in recent weeks. And unfortunately, that was evident in this game as well. So slight surprise with two selections, I would say. One nice surprise in Alisson returning, but Jones and Núñez wouldn't have been my preferred players who have started this game. In terms of Palace, they had to fit in some square pegs in round holes in terms of some of the defenders. You've got Lerma, midfielder, playing on the left side of the back three. You've got Nathaniel Klein playing as a right-sided centre-back. So you've got back three there. And then the midfield four, exactly what I expected. And a lot of people didn't expect Elise to start. I predicted it because I knew he was available for this fixture. So he starts alongside Mateta and Eze. So, yeah, interesting formation as well that they're playing nowadays, 3-4-3. And unfortunately, the game plan, it worked for Palace. So let's talk about the first half. Poor start from Liverpool. We never really hit the ground running. Palace were very aggressive from the front and took the lead very early, around the 14th minute through Eze. Great play from Palace on that left-hand side. Mitchell cuts back the pass towards Eze and he places it clinically in the back of the net. And to make it worse, Liverpool almost conceded a goal very shortly after as Van Dijk slips and Mateta is through on goal, one-on-one with Alisson, dinks it over the keeper, but Robertson manages to clear the ball before it crossed the goal line. Poor defending from Konate in regards to the previous incident, which was the goal. For me, he was out of position and nowhere near Eze, who was the man he should be marking. So, yeah, luckily he wasn't 2-0 at that stage, but Liverpool respond with a huge opportunity from a set piece as Endo has an effort from a few yards out and he smashes the crossbar. So close. For me, he should have scored. No excuses there. Then Robertson whips in across towards Diaz on the far post. He produces an acrobatic shot towards goal, but somehow Dean Henderson makes a crucial save to tip the ball over the bar. Salah has a shot from the edge of the box on the right side, but Henderson parries it away. And that was the key moments of the first half. For me, very frustrating half from Liverpool. I looked at the bench and thought this is probably our strongest bench that we've had in quite a while. So I was hoping that in the second half that Klopp makes some changes and we can hopefully switch it up. But wasn't quite the case. Well, I would say we did switch it up, but unfortunately we weren't clinical in front of goal. Klopp brings in OZZWRLD for Endo, who for me had a poor game in the first half. But then Liverpool had to make another substitution very quickly into the second half as Conor Bradley is down and he's picked up an injury. That resulted to seeing Trent back on the pitch, which was a welcoming sight. Hopefully the injury isn't too severe for Conor Bradley. I haven't heard in terms of the length of the injury. I'm sure he's getting a scan done today. So yeah, hopefully he hasn't ruled him out for the remainder of the season. Darwin Núñez has a glorious chance in front of goal. We were volley from point blank range, but his shot was straight at the goalkeeper. And for me, what a miss. And for me, simply not good enough. He should have buried that in. But the next opportunity for me was the icing on the cake in terms of the final outcome of the game, because I just didn't feel like it was our day. And so OZZWRLD was the player who cuts back a pass, running down the right side of the box towards Jota, who's got plenty of space to shoot, got the whole goal to aim at, but he hits it straight at Nathaniel Klein. Poor effort from the Portuguese attacker there. Palace almost took the lead from a set piece as Mateta is in a couple yards away from goal. He applies a shot, but somehow Alisson makes an audacious save to tip the ball over the bar, similar to Henderson's save earlier in the first half. But Mateta couldn't believe his eyes that he missed that big opportunity there. Liverpool then produced another chance through a counter-attack. Cody Gakpo, who made an instant impact off the bench, hits a lovely through ball with the outside of his foot towards Curtis Jones. He drives with the ball, one-on-one with the keeper. But somehow he completely misses the cue and misses the target. And the ball ended up going for a goal kick. Such a poor effort from Curtis Jones, in my opinion. In that moment, he needed to be calm and composed and apply a side-footed finish with a bit of curl into the corners. He went for a flat-footed shot that completely missed the target. So, disappointing shot. I think he should have buried it, in my opinion. Liverpool had one more stab on goal to claim at least a point towards the latter stage of the game as Gakpo hits a cross from the left side into the box. Jota tries to control the ball with his chest, but it was a heavy touch. Salah fortunately reacts and applies a shot from the loose ball, but out of nowhere, Mitchell manages to block the shot before the ball even reached the target. So that's the end of the game. For me, Liverpool had so many big chances to get something from the game. The finishing in front of goal was diabolical. That's the best word I can describe right now. I'm trying to keep it PG as well. And for me, I'm not going to scapegoat anyone from the team. Everyone was in poor form, and they have been in poor form in recent games in front of goal. For me, we should not have lost this game. But look, let's not be too bitter in terms of the outcome. Credit has to go to Crystal Palace. Similar to Atalanta, who I'm sure Palace took some inspiration from before the fixture began, came over to Anfield with a game plan, and they executed it fantastically. Now, I was questioned early in the week in terms of why I was feeling nervous about this game, and this is why. Palace have always been a bogey team for us and continue to do so, unfortunately, as they've dented our title chances once again. Big question. Is the title race over for Liverpool? For me personally, I'm not quite ready to throw in the towel just yet. For me, Villa and Tottenham hold the key to the title race. Villa have already played Man City, which they lost the other day, which was 4-1, I believe. But they also managed to beat Arsenal yesterday after our game, with the result being 2-0. So we still have to play Villa, which is an away fixture on the 13th of May. But before that, Spurs really have a say on who becomes champion as they face City, Arsenal, and Liverpool in the coming weeks. So I think we may see another twist in the tail as points will be dropped. And all Liverpool can do right now is win their games, and let's see where they finish. Obviously, an obvious statement to make, but we have to give it our all and not give up until the end of the season. We have a big game coming up this Thursday against Atalanta. I'll be doing a match preview on Wednesday evening. But if somehow we manage to get the win in the game and progress into the semi-finals, that will give the whole squad and the fan base a major boost that we need at this stage, because I'm sure we're all feeling quite down and disappointed with the recent results. And in terms of the recent results, the past week hasn't been a great one for us, and it has been one to forget. But if we somehow do the unexpected against Atalanta on Thursday, it could change the fortune of our season. So let's see how it goes. I guess we'll take it one game at a time. But for now, we'll do the player ratings for the game. If you're watching live, feel free to drop your score in the chat and I'll place it on the screen. Also, if you want to call in, the link is pinned in the live chat. So let's share the graphic with you guys and I will give my player rating. So let's begin with Alisson. So firstly, good seeing back on the pitch. I was very frustrated with Kelleher's last performance against Atalanta. And I have to be honest, I was probably a bit emotional after the game in terms of the way we lost. But I was just praying that Alisson returns to the team because he's level above Kelleher. And that's not to, discredit his ability as a keeper, because I do think Kelleher is a good goalkeeper. But in this crunch time right now where we're not in good form, we need all our best players available, and Anderson is certainly one of them. So for me, really pleased that he came back to the team. Generally had a good game overall for me. Made a fantastic save in the second half from close range, where Mateta probably should have buried it, and he was in disbelief that he wasn't able to convert the goal there. But no, overall for me, a good all-round performance from our Brazilian goalkeeper there. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. In terms of Conor Bradley, for me, he had a decent half, to be fair. Very unlucky to pick up that ankle injury. Unfortunately, I don't know the extent of the injury right now, but I'm fearful that it could rule him out for the rest of the season. We haven't got too much left. We've probably got just over a month remaining in terms of the season. So unfortunately, it could rule him out, especially when it's the ankle injury. It normally takes a few weeks to heal. So fingers crossed it's just a slight knock and nothing too serious. But until we're not hearing no further news, he will not be available for the foreseeable future. But in terms of his rating for this game, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Now, Konate, I'll be honest with you, I think he was poor in this game. For me, he was at fault for the goal, out of position, and pretty much gave Eze acres of space to execute the finish. And he's not been in good form recently. Maybe that's because he's just come back from injury. And for me, he needs to really fix up and sort that out. So in terms of his performance, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Now, in terms of Van Dijk, not a great performance from our captain, unfortunately. His slip almost cost Liverpool a second goal, but luckily Robertson was able to recover and make the goal line clearance. An average performance, unfortunately. Ineffective as well in terms of our set pieces, where he tried to nod the ball towards another player or towards goal, but they were looping efforts that never really troubled the keeper. So for me, unfortunately, I'll have to give Van Dijk a 6 out of 10. In terms of Robertson, for me, he was a better player in our defense. He tried to be the creative spark from the wing as well. So I have to applaud his effort in terms of his desire to keep going, to try and be a bit more forward-minded with his passing. And he also made that goal line clearance, which was huge, as it was literally a few minutes after the first goal. So for me, I'm going to give Robertson a 6.5 out of 10. Let's start with Endo. Another poor showing from Endo was, for me, inconsistent in this game. Poor on the ball, got displaced a number of times by Palace midfielders, and for me made a bit of a hash of his shot there in the first half. Huge opportunity to score as it was only a few yards out. So, a disappointing performance for Endo for me. So I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. McAllister, I'm donning, I don't know if you can see on the screen, I'm donning a Mac 10 t-shirt right now. Wasn't on top of his game, unfortunately. Not his usual self. Distribution was a bit inconsistent for me, and he couldn't really influence the game like he has done in previous weeks. So in terms of his performance, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Curtis Jones. Now, I thought he was shocking throughout the game, and that's not because of that one-on-one miss that he wasn't able to convert in the second half. I was doing a watch along, and for me, I said it at halftime, I thought he was one of the players that needed to be substituted. As for me, he was inactive, wasn't really involved in the game, gave the ball away a number of times. I just felt like he wasn't playing to our advantage. But I felt like with Diaz attacking that left-hand side, he wasn't finding the pockets. He was quite deep. So I thought he needed to be a bit more further up to help Diaz, because they were playing a midfield four with two wing backs. So there's always going to be space there. And with Nathaniel Klein not familiar with that right side centre-back role, that area of the pitch should have been exploited more, in my opinion. So, but somehow he survived around 80 minutes of the game. As I mentioned earlier, missed probably the biggest chance of the game, and he didn't even hit the target. So very disappointing performance from Curtis Jones for me. So unfortunately, I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10 rating there. In terms of Mohamed Salah, for me, he wasn't involved in the game that much. Had a shot in the first half, had a late shot where Mitchell made the block. Could have obviously got the equalizer there, but he didn't really see him coming. And I don't think he played with much intensity. And in terms of his run and his passing, I felt he was quite predictable at times. So they were easy. It was very easy to defend against him, unfortunately. So for me, not the best of performances from Salah. I give him a 4 out of 10. Nunez, another poor performance. I can't get my words out. That's how disappointed I am. Another poor performance from our number 9. He also missed a huge opportunity in the second half. It's that volley that I mentioned earlier on. Some will say that was an instinctive shot. But for me, those are the shots you bury. He was literally had the whole goal in front of him. As a striker, you have awareness of where the goal is. So if you're in the central area of the box, you know you can't hit centrally. You've got to angle it a certain way. And I just don't think he has that clear instinct in front of goal. Sometimes he amazes you with unbelievable finishing, but then when it comes to the bread and butter finishes, he just doesn't do it for me. So that's a concern in the long term. Now, I'm not going to say, get rid of him, blah, blah, or replace him, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really here for that. But in terms of this performance today, I thought he was very, very poor. Should have scored that chance. He was offside quite a few times as well, which is frustrating. General play was poor, and I think link-up play was non-existent. And that was very disappointing as well, because he didn't really manage to hold the ball up that many times. If he was able to do that, it might have brought other players in the game a bit more. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that for Liverpool. So for his rating, I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10. And the final player, Luis Diaz, the only positive light from our attack, in my opinion. But at the same time, I don't think he was as influential as he has been in recent weeks. Manus, who's his fellow countryman, the right wing back for Crystal Palace, got the best of him on a number of occasions. So that made his afternoon very, very difficult. But nevertheless, I do think Diaz had a decent game. Unlucky not to score, with Henderson producing a worldy save in the first half. So for his rating, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Drop a comment, guys. Let me know what you think. Have I been a bit harsh with some of the ratings? Is it based on emotion right now? Regardless, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Just got a comment here from Eagle-Eyed Nate, who came on the show for the match preview. Big up, Nate. He said, I never, ever, ever saw that coming. But my Lord in heaven, that game was bare stress at the effing Palace Eagles. Now, fair play, Nate. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for tuning in. I don't think none of us expected that result, to be fair. But this is why I told you I wasn't feeling confident about this fixture. You've messed us about in the past. It was the 10th year anniversary of Istanbul as well. So I feel like the stars was aligned for you to get that result. So yeah, this is why I didn't have a lot of chest in our match preview. As a football fan, you just get that feeling about your team sometimes. So it is what it is. But, credit to Palace. Thoroughly deserved. It wasn't even like Palace were playing the low block. I think they played real good football as well. And they just executed a perfect game plan against Liverpool. So you have to give the opposition credit. It's more frustrating from our part because I don't feel like we were clinical in front of goal. But in terms of Palace, they did what they had to do. And they got the win in the end. So fair play to them. just got another comment from Daz who says, bless Ozzy, bless up Daz, hope you're well. Thank you for your comment, thank you for tuning in as well. Now, before we wrap up, I will also reveal my ratings for the subs. We made 5 subs altogether as well. So yeah, Klopp tried his best to make things different in the second half, but unfortunately with no fruition. So it was Szoboszlai on for Endo. I will place the players in their correct positions very shortly. And then it was Trent Alexander-Arnold for Bradley. So Trent is there. And then you've got Gakpo for Diaz. Oh, sorry. Gakpo. And then it's Jota for Darwin Núñez. And then it's Harvey Elliott for Curtis Jones. Okay. So Gakpo, Jota in the correct positions. Why have I got Endo there? Apologies. So Bosley was the player that I was referring to. Yep. So McAllister dropped to a number 6 row. Harvey Elliott there. So Bosley on the left side. So who should we start with? Let's start with Szoboszlai, who was a straight second half substitution. For me, an average performance in his cameo. Almost provided an assist for Jota, who for me missed an awful chance and should have buried it. I think Szoboszlai was a bit wasteful in possession and he almost hit a back pass that was very similar to Atalanta actually. So yeah, I think that was a bit of a deja vu moment where he felt like he messed up for the team again. But nevertheless, for me, he needs to pick up his form quickly because he's not been great since the return of his injury. It's been a few weeks now, so he hasn't really improved that much in my opinion. So for his rating, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. Trent, another average performance for me, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he even was on the pitch because I think he came on unexpectedly. Maybe he wasn't supposed to play in this game, maybe just as an option to have later in the game for the last 10 minutes, but he's not playing pretty much the whole of the second half. It's his first return to the team since his injury. He's been out for about a couple of months now, so I don't think he was quite match fit for this game, and he didn't seem to be on the same wavelength as the other players, but he still tried his best, played the inverted fullback role, spraying passes all over the pitch, but unfortunately with not much end product. So for his rating, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Gakpo, for me, was probably one of the only positive lights to take from the game. I thought he was very positive coming off the bench and had a real impact on the game. I wanted to see Gakpo starting this fixture, as I mentioned at the top of the show. So I was disappointed that Klopp went with Núñez, who's been in poor form and has been for a while now. But no, good to see Gakpo playing with a bit more aggression, a bit more urgency. I feel like that's areas of his games that he's lacked in the past 2-3 months. But it looks like he's in song with his confidence right now. He seems to be aligned certain skill sets of his game where I feel like he hasn't shown. So, for example, he's driving with the ball a lot more. He's taking on players a lot more. Beforehand, I feel like he played a safe pass or not really do much and wouldn't have the courage or the confidence to take on a man. But he's doing that now. So whatever he's doing in training is working for him clearly. So hopefully it continues. And I feel like in the next fixture, just a sneak peek, I think he deserves to start against Atalanta. So that would be my selection for the next game. But in terms of this game, I think he was fantastic. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Jota, who came on for Núñez, and I feel like at that stage we were lacking a killer instinct in front of goal, but he probably had one of the worst misses of the game. Our gunman wasn't able to release the trigger in this game. He also had another chance later in the game where he pretty much tried to control his chest, but he completely miscontrolled it, ended up going 2-3 yards ahead of him. Salah tried to get at the end of the ball and shoot, but it was blocked by Mitchell in the end. So for me, he had little impact in the team and the overall play. And actually, if he had scored that goal, probably could have saved Liverpool if he was more clinical in front of goal, could have rescued us a point. But Wasn't to be, unfortunately. So his rating, I'll give him a 4 out of 10. Harvey Elliott, I can't give him too much of a range. I think he did okay. He only played for about 10 or so minutes, so not much time to make a huge impression on the game. Another player that I mentioned earlier in the show, I think should have started this game. Average performance, unfortunately, due to the time that he played. So unfortunately, he'll probably get an average score as well. So he'll get a 5 out of 10. And yes, that is my play rating. I haven't announced my man of the match. It was a surprise one. I'm actually going to give it to a sub. So I'm going to give it to Gakpo. I think Gakpo was the man of the match. Despite playing about half an hour, I feel like he was the only player, probably bar Diaz. Diaz was very positive in his play. But I think the Colombian wingback for Palace, Manuz, got the best of him and, yeah, kept him quiet several parts of the game. Gakpo, for me, was more influential, took on his fullback a lot, whipped in a lot of crosses that led to a couple of moments that were squeaky bum time for Palace, I would say. But, yeah, for me, he should have started the game, so disappointed that he didn't. But in terms of his performance, he did what he could coming off the bench for the last half an hour, and I feel like he was very positive in his output. So he gets my man of the match. So that is my player rating. And that's the end of the show as well, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming content, I'll be doing the match week review of the Premier League tomorrow evening. Wednesday, it will be the match preview of Atalanta versus Liverpool of the Europa League quarterfinal. And then Thursday, I'll be doing the watch along for that game and then the match reaction later in the evening. So, yep, lots of content coming your way, guys. So, yeah, please make sure you hit that notification bell. Also, follow me for any further updates or announcements on my social media. So, you can follow me at OZZIE'S on Twitter/X, or you can follow me at Ozzie.ftp on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Not sure if anyone's aware, but I've also launched a new clothing brand, which I've titled OZWRLD. And these are one of my designs. Not sure if you can see. So it's got Mac 10. So yeah, in reference to our midfielder, Alexis McAllister. So yeah, why not go through our range at OZWRLD.co.uk, and then yeah, feel free to have a browse and yeah, make your purchase today as well. So small little plug there. But yes, thank you for tuning in, guys. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye. Welcome to OZWRLD, the home of custom and unique designs referencing the football world. Our designs are tailor-made for all football fans, so express your views through the clothing you wear. Purchase your shirt today at OZWRLD.co.uk.